Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we're measuring love in litres. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Well, love is in the air, as they say. I mean, we love beer, so there's always love. There's always love. There's always love at A Woman's Brew. There's always love because I'm here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what? The amount of times that I was trying to rewrite the podcast intro, like when I was thinking in my head of like, oh, what could I do as the podcast intro? Yeah. Or anytime I was typing anything, it just kept trying to, if I was typing anything on Facebook, for example, it kept trying to autofill you. And then I was like, should I just work that in? And then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Because it made me chuckle. But yeah, you're right. I was going to say, it's not even just about romantic love, platonic love.
All kinds of love.
Falling in love with your beers and breweries. I mean, it's February by the time you're listening to this. Romance is maybe in the air, or maybe anti-romance is in the air. Joe, do you celebrate Valentine's Day?
No.
Are you a Valentine's Day person?
No.
That was an immediate no.
No, we don't. Like, I don't know why you need to have like one day centered on why you love each other. Like the Hubs and I say we love each other every day. Like we do stuff all the time. I think when we were like first dating, I think we did a bit of Valentine's, but not in a long time. We don't even get each other cards. In fact, Valentine's Day this year is on a Saturday, and I really wanted to go see Dracula in London, which is they've reworked it, and Cynthia Erivo, that's Elphaba for other people.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know that much. I'm not like I don't know that much about Wicked, but I do know that.
Yeah, she is going to play all the parts.
Oh, that's
she's playing 23 different characters, and apparently it's like mixed media. So there's like, so sometimes she'll be talking to her, like a video of herself. So she's recorded some of it before, and like it's a really interesting style of performance. And then it's Dracula as well, so that's cool. And I wanted to go see it. And the tickets were really expensive, so I was like, no, I'm not going to get to go see it. And then they were like, oh, we've put out some cheaper tickets. Go and have a look. So I went and had a look, and a cheaper ticket was available on Valentine's Day. And I'm like,
oh, that's probably why, because they're like single seats by themselves.
And like, actually, there was quite a few seats left. Like I've got like a nice. I'm in the balcony, like I'm in the nosebleed seats, but I'm like right in the middle. So yeah, it's not.
I genuinely feel like, I don't know what theatre it is that you're going to, but I've gone to see shows in London where it's like the quote unquote nosebleed seats, or like the way London, a lot of like older London theatres are as well. Like the seats are tiny. They're not like, you have to be a teeny person to like comfortably sit in some of them. And so I've sat in it where like the seats are like a little bit more crowded, and like there's not a lot of like leg space. Thankfully, I'm short, so that's
this
okay.
One's not gonna have a lot of leg room,
but the way that it's like the way they angle the seats, like I've seen Book of Mormon in one of those type of theatres, and like I saw it was great. Like I have it was not that expensive, and it was great.
I went to a website called Seat Plan. This is my top tip that I learned because I was trying to work out. Yeah, because I was trying to work out like what the seat plan's like, and I googled it, and someone on Reddit was like, go to Seat Plan, because people submit a photograph from sitting in that seat, so you can see it. I've never seen that before. And I was like, and it was like, you might miss like the top of the scenery, but you'll get a fair view. You're just further back. And I was like, done. So I was like, right, I want to go see that. So I said to Gordon, I was like, right, so this is on Valentine's Day. You don't want to see that, do you? He was like, no, I do not. I was like, cool, I'm going to go immediately. No. And then I messaged my dad, because me and my dad go to the theatre, and I was like, weird retelling of Dracula, not for you. And he was like, no, you're on your own for that one. And I was like, cool. So I'm going to go to London and see this, but I'm going to go up earlier, and I'm just going to go and visit a load of bookshops. And I'm going to go to Saucy Books, which is the first romance-only bookshop in London. How's that work for Valentine's Day? I'm going to have a great day.
Saucy books, I like that. That's my, that sounds like a perfect way to treat yourself.
Right, it's going to be great. I'm going to do, and actually that weekend is the London Bookshop crawl. So
that's really cool.
If you're a bookish person, the London Bookshop crawl. In fact, bookshopcrawl.org. They do bookshop crawls all over the place, and so they give you. You can sometimes get. Sometimes it's a ticket, and you join a group if you want to be guided. But they'll also do like self-guided ones where you buy the map or the list of bookshops and you can do it yourself. So you can just go on to londonbookshop.org, I think it is, and you can get the self-guided ones, which just gives you a list of all the bookshops. There are like some like areas that are like, this is a tour you can follow. But I was just before we were recording, I was on there having a look, and I've got a list now of bookshops that I want to go to. Like Saucy is in Notting Hill, so there's a bunch of bookshops around there, so I'm gonna head on out that way, do a bunch of bookshops there, kind of come back to kind of Piccadilly and do the really big Waterstones and do a couple of bits around Covent Garden before I go to the theatre. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a wonderful day.
What's the lure of going during a book crawl versus just like bookshop crawl versus just any other time? Is there any like special things that happen?
So I mean, they do. So they'll have like guided where they'll take you to the bookshops if you don't want to do it yourself with a map. Like me and you.
Why would you want to do that though? Out of sheer curiosity.
Well, I mean, if you're not sure where you're going, like they'll take. And if you don't want to do it on your own, like we're the kind of people that go and find a tap room down a dark alley, right? On a weird industrial estate. Some people don't like that, Tori. Some people like to have more of a guide. They're not as adventurous as us, right? So some people
I think it just blows my mind because I go to Google Maps. Google Maps is your guide. You just say where you want to go and you put it in and it takes you there.
And some of them have, and then you're doing it in a group setting, so you're not on your own.
Yeah, I think my brain just goes, oh no.
I'll just do it myself, right? That's Google what I was just like, I'll just do it myself. But also, there are some where some of these are sold out if this is inspiring you to go look. But they do one where like they'll take you to the archives of the British Library. You buy a ticket and you go. You'll go to the British Library and then you'll go to bookshops. There's one, and this one wasn't sold out, but it was too early for me to get there. They'll take you to the comic museum. Then take you around comic book shops. So there's a couple of different ones on there, and they do a Canterbury one as well that me and my dad did. That was a self-guided one where you just got the map and went around the shops. That coincided with Canterbury Children's Literary Festival, and then there's one in Winchester. I think there's a York one. They're all over the place. So I'll put that link in the show notes because we've talked about it a lot, so that people can go and have a look if you're interested.
To be fair, I do think you could fit that into the theme of today because I think like that's a perfect day out, right, especially to bring it back to beer. You do the book crawl. You stop and you have some beers. If you want to take yourself on a self date, you go do the book crawl. You then go take yourself to a tap room and read the books that you got. If one person really likes reading, the other person really likes beer, that's the best way to collaborate on that. Like in terms of I feel like this is meant to be, this was not something that I'd written down at all. So now I'm like, I've got the journalist in me is like, I got questions. So like obviously I get the whole, I don't get it because my brain can't function that way, but I understand what you're saying about like, going around as a group and everything. But like, did they have certain things that you can only get on that day that you cannot get on any other day? That's why you would want to go during the book crawl?
So there is a ID card. So some of those bookshops will do like discounts, or you'll get something if you show your London Bookshop crawl ID card. So there's some bits. I'm going to take mine with me and see what I can get.
Nice.
And I suppose they'll be doing that. Certain bookshops that are involved will be doing fun things for that day.
So I was thinking, like, do they have like authors that turn up and
yes, I think sometimes. I know because the Canterbury one was paired with the Children's Literary Festival, that there was like activities on certain days, like depending on where you went and things, and there was author talks and things. Yeah, so there is sometimes. Yeah,
I think that could make a really nice day out for somebody, like a really nice Valentine's day out for somebody if they're going to also go on.
I'm really looking forward to my little solo Valentine's Galentines love myself day.
I love that as a treat yourself day. To be fair, like Rick and I don't really do Valentine's Day either. That's the thing. Like I don't hit and miss with cards. Sometimes a card, but then again, it's only just because like one of us has seen a card that's like, Rick's not a card person. Like not that he's not a card person, but he's just like, oh, it's just, you know, then you got paper. What are you gonna do with it? So unless you see like a really good, funny, interesting card, like, and if we're busy, it's like I don't have the brain space to order a card. So it's not. We use Valentine's Day, I think, as you said, it's like you just love each other all year. Just love each other. I mean, some days more than other days, but you just love each other year round. True. Some days on the higher levels than the other days, but it's the, you know, you love this person year round, not on this particular day. That's how we choose to do it. And it's not like we need that one day to commemorate it or anything like that. But what we do is
like an anniversary is a better commemoration, right? Because it's like then, when you met or when you got married or, you know.
Even then, though, I don't think we make as big of a deal about it as other people do. I think like we just use Valentine's Day as like an excuse to be like, let's just make a really like an extra tasty meal. But then we eat well. So it's not like I'm saying like, oh, all other days are like rubbish in comparison. But it's like for me, I use Valentine's Day as an excuse to like maybe do something nicer than what we'd normally do. Not because I'm like, oh, I care about Valentine's Day, but any excuse for a treat, I'm like, oh, we could do that because it's Valentine's Day. We could have a nice steak dinner because it's Valentine's Day. Like bring the steak. Oh, let's not do chores today. It's Valentine's Day. Like that type of activity.
You use Valentine's Day as an excuse.
It's like, oh, we could do stuff. But what if we didn't because it's Valentine's Day? That's like in my brain what's going on there. In terms of like bringing it back to the beer realm of things, we had this conversation during one of our episodes about Christmas and like the holiday beers, and when you have like seasonal holiday beers, or all it takes is someone putting Santa on something or whatever, and that's like, oh, it's a Christmas beer. And we kind of had a question that came up or a topic that came up that's like, are Christmas beers a gimmick? Do you think, I don't think you get as many Valentine's beers here in the UK, but in the US I think you get it. Would you say that you think Valentine's Day beers are a gimmick, or do you think, like, what is a Valentine's Day beer?
I think it's 100% a gimmick. Because I actually did, like, when we started talking about this, I went and did a little bit of research, and the only beers that I could bring up that were Valentine's beers were like ones that you could put your person's name, your significant other's name on. Like there wasn't anything that was like this style.
Yes, it's like a beer they brew all year round.
Yeah, it's just a bit,
and they're like, but this time of year,
or it's like, you know, or you get a Valentine's box from Valentine's box of ales, and it's just regular beers that you could get normally, but they're in like a pink box with hearts on it. Like
I looked at I think I probably looked up similar things than you. Like I picked this as a theme, but like I picked this as a theme knowing that there's not actually a lot of Valentine's Day beers out there, but I just thought it would be something lighthearted. The world's heavy right now. I just thought it would be a nice lighthearted topic.
Like the last time we did, like we haven't done Valentine's very often, but there was that one time that we did Valentine's. And we did the beers, and we had that. We had the
I ended up having
sexy pink tigers in jacuzzis. It was a tasty beer. Like, was it chocolate and strawberry?
I think I ended up with a second can of that somebody had aged. Somebody had aged it, and they were like, "Oh, here!" Like a friend of mine had one that I think he was aging, and then he was like, "Oh, like I know that you like this one, so like if you want to try it." And so I think I might even still have a can of that somewhere. The reason I said I'm rolling my eyes is because I remember getting in. This was many years ago, and someone I don't really speak to anymore. Like, it just getting into a better debate where I was like shamed about like, oh, going to do a podcast episode on Valentine's Day, like with a Valentine's Day theme, where we're going to drink beers that we think represent like what, like a sweet item you'd have on Valentine's Day. Just we thought it was a bit of fun, like just a bit of lighthearted fun. And I just had somebody that, I don't know, probably having a bad day, and it probably has nothing to do. It's probably more to do with them and how they feel about themselves than me. But just was like, why would you even do that? And like literally said like strawberries and chocolate aren't even like a Valentine's thing. And I was just like, I mean, they are universally. but I mean, that's cool. Like, I guess
maybe not for you, but.
And then I think like literally in another post somewhere else, they literally did like a similar comparison, and I was like, like I did that that gif of that guy that's like like his eyes are just like what, and I was like okay, cool. So yeah, that's why when you were like the last time we did this, and I was like, oh, it was just it opened an unnecessary it opened an unnecessary can of worms by us doing that episode. Like it shouldn't even.
We've both got episodes like that.
Yeah, mine was private. No one commented on my thing publicly to be rude, but so yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
Much less of that now. Like,
we do get less of it now.
It's because we're more legitimate now that people don't, or maybe people just don't comment on what we do anymore. Maybe nobody cares.
It might be that less people care. It might be that we care too much now. We have to like
we censor ourselves.
Sadly,
do you think we censor ourselves?
Yeah.
Not on things that are important.
I was gonna say immediately. I was like, no, I don't really censor much of what I do or say, but I don't think we censor anything to a level that's like, oh, we're too afraid to say something important. I think it's just we probably stop and think more now. Like, this is an episode we're going to put out. What can we say? Like, whereas I think before we were like, oh, like we didn't really think about the reactions. I mean, what does that say about if you're listening to this episode and you're like, you just waffled for 10 minutes. You waffled for 10 minutes about nothing to do with Valentine's Day on a Valentine's Day episode, and you're telling me you think more about your episodes now. Super cool.
Definitely more strategic.
Shockingly. More strategic. You might not come across to you that way, but we are very much more strategic now. So I think we're a lot more careful, because I think we have to play. Sadly, we feel like we have to play. This is for a completely other episode, not a Valentine's Day episode, but love yourself. How the hell are you going to love anyone else? Amen. But I do think we kind of play 5D chess and go like, if we talk about this topic, what kind of reaction are we going to get? Or have we had any people just be?
And also,
if it's a topic we care about, fine. But if it's like strawberries and chocolate or a Valentine's Day thing, that's not meaningful enough to us to deal with the flack that comes from it. So we're like, maybe not. So we're trying Valentine's again.
Isn't that just like how women have to live their lives?
Well, yeah, and you know what? Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potate. I don't care anymore.
Let's love ourselves.
So we're giving Valentine's Day a second round.
Galentines, where we just love our friends and love each other.
Oh, this is the thing. So we got Galentines, and I was like, oh, what's more gender neutral? I mean, I know I call everyone girl with a U, or boy with an I, and that's, for me, that's gender neutral.
Yep.
I literally called someone at work today girl, but I didn't put the U in, and they were like, not a girl, and I was like, oh, sorry. I meant to put a U in there. That was my bad. I'm trying to think of like a gender neutral for like Galentines, because like I feel like anybody should be able to be like, I want to say Palentines. Is that a thing?
I liked that. Can we make
Have you ever heard of that before? Or did I?
Are we making that up? Listeners, have we made that up? Or is it a thing?
I don't know. It might be a thing, but I didn't see it anywhere else. And then I was like, do we like it? And I was kind of like, I don't know if we like it.
I don't mind it. Let us know. Let us know, listeners. Do you like Palentines?
Palentines? Like, you're my pal.
Yeah.
And I want to appreciate you as a platonic friend. Palentines. So that's
great.
I'm glad I got a seal of approval on that. Before we do any more of Valentine's stuff, we've been sat here sipping, even before we were recording, I was sat here sipping. What are we drinking? What are you drinking? Why are you drinking it?
So I feel like I'm jumping the gun, because I think this topic comes up later.
Did you know that? Or did you just go, did you find out, did you look at the thing after and go, oh, I should have saved that?
No, I just wanted to drink this one first.
That's fair.
And didn't really think about the order that we were going to talk about things. And it makes...
How I usually do it.
It's actually better to drink this before the other beer that I've got. Like, if I did it the other way around, the order would be weird, drinking-wise. But I am drinking a Sam Adams Boston Lager. Yay. I'm drinking it out of my Sam Adams glass. Got it all proper and everything.
I got a photo from you that's like, look at this perfect pour.
Yes. Yeah, the pour was amazing. I'm so pleased with it. I just love sipping on a Sam. It's great. But the reason I have this, I have themed my beers.
Okay, yeah. You asked me if I themed mine, and I said kind of, but not really. And I said, did you theme yours? And you were like, yes.
Yes. I picked mine intentionally. And the reason I picked Sam Adams is because Sam Adams is the beer that got me into beer. So it's the first beer I ever really loved. It's my true love of beer. And I'll save the rest of the story for when we get into beer love stories later on.
I love that. That's the beer that you love, because that's kind of like the thing as well. Of like some questions that had popped up. I've written down some quick fire questions and some longer answer questions. And I ended up having something that was similar to that type of question, but I ended up deleting those ones because, like, one of them, I thought, you know what, we'll trim the fat. Let's be lean. Let's trim the fat on it. Yeah. But one of them, it was questions that are like, which beer would be like the beer that you've gone through the honeymoon phase with? And then you're like, oh, coming out of the honeymoon phase. Then you're like, what is that kind of beer? And then like, what is your true love of beer? And what is that? So, you know what? I deleted those questions, but you answered it anyways, and I love that.
My true love, my soulmate, my always, Sam Adams.
My always, my forever. I have got Dolphin's Riddler, which is a dark sour with figs, plum, and cherries. And I picked it. I mean, to be honest, I'm going to top it up and try not to get sediment in it. The reason I picked it, like, I didn't theme mine like you themed yours. It was just because dark sour with the cherries in it and the figs and the plums is really dark sour with cherries in my brain. I was like, that's sexy.
Yeah, that is sexy.
And who doesn't want to feel sexy on Valentine's Day? You want to feel sexy. And then I just knew that it was going to be like just a beautiful, nice, dark looking beer. And I don't know, the label. I think even the label kind of has that. It's a very, it's like a simplistic type of like modern arty type label. Has all the little like outlines of all the little bits.
Sophisticated.
And it just felt like it was just giving me the vibes of like the kind of place I'd want to go on a date night. And overall I was just like, I mean, if you're thinking like Batman the Riddler's not really sexy, but the beer style sexy.
Depends on what you're into.
Yeah, I'm not king shaming.
Don't yuck someone's
not for me. I'm not for me. But the dark sour style. This is going to be a not safe for work episode. Clearly, like this is the direction it's going down, especially at the end of this episode. But and then I'm having out my little Earth Fest glass. Just because I guess that's given a bit of like Galentines love as well. Because it was like ladies' day out at
ladies' day and Tom.
Earth Fest. Yeah. You can be a girl though. Girl with a U.
Tom's definitely a girl with a U.
Yeah, Ladies' Day.
I can't really make Ladies' Day like, I'm a girl with an I. What are you talking about? I am one of the girls.
Yeah, I mean, he was that day. It was great. So that's what I've got. I guess we already, to be fair, my next one was going to be about the gimmick thing, but then we already talked about that. I agree. I've seen the same things that you've seen with the gimmick thing, which is just really funny about the reskinned labels. And that's why I was like, I'm going to leave it on there because I think that is hilarious.
Again, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. If you want to get a reskinned beer and give it to your loved one,
100%,
have at it. You enjoy yourself. If that's the kind of thing you enjoy, I don't think that's a good way of picking a beer style that is significant about Valentine's Day.
But I think that's like if you kind of don't really know. I think, to be fair, there's a time and place and a setting. Right? I think there's a time and a place for that as well, and like where someone is on their beer journey as well. Like somebody that is just early doors into their beer journey, or if that was somebody's favorite brewery back in the day, whatever. Maybe still is, maybe it's their favorite fridge filler or something like that. Like, then there's absolutely merit in that as well. But I do lean towards like it is a gimmick because you have to get this particular beer, pay slightly more for it just to get this different label on it. But fair enough, to each their own. In terms of picking the beers that you're going to have for your date night, so Mojave cider, I'm hoping I'm saying it right, Mojave cider. wrote an article that says, "Say I do to these romantic beer pairings for date night."
Ooh.
So I thought it was really interesting. So this is from January of last year, so it's a year-old article, and I'm not going to read it all out or anything. We can share it. I've got everything that we talk about today. I've given links for, so we can share it. It's going to be a very link heavy, I think. But in this article, it talks about sort of crafting the perfect love potion. So it says like creating a romantic experience through beer pairings is both an art and a skill, combining flavors, ambiance, and thoughtful details. This section explores how to make your evening truly special, from choosing the perfect brews to creating the right atmosphere for connection. And I just thought, well, this is a very apt thing.
That's fun.
So yeah, so I thought we'd just quickly walk through it. So number 1, it says flavors that speak to the heart. And again, won't read all of it, we'll just read little snippets from it. But a successful pairing begins with recognizing how beer profiles interact with food. Spicy dishes, for example, go wonderfully with malty amber ales or milk stouts, which balance the heat while highlighting the dish's character. Similarly, seafood pairs beautifully with citrusy wheat beers, offering a refreshing contrast to delicate flavors. Consider desserts as well. Rich chocolatey stouts bring out the bittersweet notes and dark chocolate, while fruity sours complement tangy cheesecakes or berry desserts. Seasonal beers such as pumpkin ales or in autumn, or light pilsners in summer, can align beautifully with the mood of the evening. Including locally brewed beers can make the experience feel even more personal. These options add unique flavors to your meal and support small breweries, making them a meaningful choice. I really like that as well. And I just had, interestingly, last weekend we had a friend come round and he brought a little peach melba cake. It was like a cake that was, because a peach melba is like a completely different type of dessert, but they did a cake that was like this peach melba theme, and it was beautiful. It was so, like, the cake was so moist. It was very like just fruity and lovely and light and just beautiful. And then I got a mango sour that was like a really quite heavy. It's called mango colada.
Yeah.
And like those compared, like those paired together, that is something that I would say sexy Valentine's date night pudding. Like, forget the chocolate and strawberries, ditch that.
Fruity pudding.
Go peach melba cake with a mango sour. That's just the right level of tartness. Yeah, because it had just the right level of the tartness in it. And I think even if you took it one step further and had like a goes that had like just a little edge of that saltiness, that would have been like chef's kiss perfect.
Nice.
So yeah, understanding the flavors of what you're pairing is there. Number 2, the importance of the atmosphere. So setting the mood is just as important as choosing the right beers. The environment provides the backdrop for your romantic evening. Dim lighting, candles, or fairy lights can create an inviting, intimate space. Soft background music adds another layer to the experience, fostering relaxation and focus. I mean, it does say here, like, don't overlook the small details like table settings. There's a lot of things that I don't think that I would notice, and I don't know how you are. I think I don't know, it depends on the mode of which I'm like creating that atmosphere, because I think for me, I just don't take things seriously. So like for me, that type of atmosphere may not be the one. It just depends on like what you're doing. Like, I love lighting a candle, but if I walk into if Rick, lights are down, candles everywhere, and he's like, come in with his light jazz music, I'm like, what, like, you gonna murder me? Like, what are we doing?
That's where your brain goes to. You listen to too much true crime. Like,
I do. I just think it would make me feel on edge more than it would make me feel comfortable. But I'm highlighting that to say that yes, the atmosphere is important, and it's the same thing of like, I'm not like, I personally am not a big flower person, for example.
Same.
I like flowers, but I like very specific like, for me, I'm not, if you give me flowers, I'm like, oh, that's really lovely, I like them, but I'm not a person that's like, love language is like, buy me bouquets of roses.
It sets off my hay fever. Like, I literally, like, we've had it where it's been in the house, someone's bought us flowers or something, and I'm just like, have we had them here long enough now? Because I'm suffering. Can we get rid of them?
Like, it's so beautiful, plants, but please.
They're lovely, they're beautiful, they're driving me mad, I can't breathe. I like plants that are growing. So like, let's
rehome them outside.
Cactus or a succulent, or
we need those because we don't keep things
for a
live.
while. I haven't had it. Well, cactuses are great. Like, they survive on their own. Do you know what I haven't had for a while, and I was thinking about buying a new one of, is a Venus flytrap. I love me a Venus flytrap.
Oh, I think I had one and it didn't stay alive either, but it was super cool while it did.
I've had some, like, I got quite a sickly one from an IKEA once. Like, we were just...
I think I did as well. I think I had
like,
the same
just
situation.
Kind of, like, you know, you're walking through that bit where they trap you into buying things because you're like, oh, I never thought of this, but I definitely need one of these. And there was a sad-looking Venus flytrap, and I was like, oh my God, you're coming home with me, and I'm going to see if I can...
I need to rescue it. I need to, my carnivorous baby.
Him, and he did survive for a very long time.
I think I did the same, but I don't think I helped it survive. I didn't actively work towards its demise. I just don't think I did a lot to keep the life support going. What I like here as well with the setting the scene thing though is it's like oftentimes I think when people think of like setting the scene romantically, it's like setting the dining room table and it's all set up beautiful. But here it says like outdoor spaces such as patio or garden that can bring a refreshing element to the evening. Pairing a winter ale with a crisp evening breeze or a summer lager with a warm sunset can elevate the overall feeling of the night. And I kind of like that as well because, again, it comes down to the atmosphere that's right is going to be the one that is best, A, for like the season and B, for like who you are as an individual as well. Like, I think that plays into it as well. And then number 3, you've got personalizing the pairing experience. What makes an evening unforgettable is how it reflects your relationship. A curated beer flight featuring your partner's favorite styles shows an attention to their taste while introducing a new brew adds element of surprise. So I think that's quite nice.
Yeah, thoughtful.
I do have like a good quick fire question for you. Like, would you rather go to a reliable favorite or exciting new wild card?
Ooh, wild card. Always a wild card first.
I would too. I think that's it. If you had to, like, you get one beer choice, someone's like, one choice, what do you want? You can have like favorite. I think I would go wild card as well.
Something new and exciting, always.
I like to live dangerously.
That doesn't always work out, but it's fun finding out.
But I think that's the fun of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's about sort of setting up the experience. And then there's like a next section, which is sipping on romance, craft beer, date night. So you've got the setting the scene, the atmosphere of your date night sets the tone for the experience. They kind of talked about it above. Curating the tasting experience, selecting the right beers is the necessary part of your craft beer date night. A tasting flight offers a variety and invites conversation as you share impressions of each brews. Choose a mix of styles like a light lager, a hoppy IPA, a smooth porter, and a fruity sour to keep the experience engaging. Pair the beers with small dishes or snacks that enhance the flavor. For example, serve a crisp lager with shrimp cocktail or a porter with smoked meats and chocolate truffles. These thoughtful pairings create a sense of balance throughout the evening. I mean, to be fair, if someone served me shrimp cocktail, I would not be happy. But
if
I appreciate
Rick
the sentiment.
served you a light lager, you wouldn't be happy.
It says a crisp lager. It doesn't say a light lager.
No, it did. It said light lager, and I'm like,
that was the above. Like that was the above.
Oh, that was above.
Yeah, no, I would be like, oh,
excuse me. Do you know anything about me?
Be like, this is unacceptable. It's inappropriate.
Flavor is inappropriate.
Inappropriate. Yeah, I do think that he knows me well enough though. Like, if he came in here now and I said to him, like, all right, build me a flight, go, like which stars, I think he would probably go wild, funky things or stouts. Like, I don't think, maybe he'd put like a New England IPA in there or something, like a double IPA or something. Like, I don't think he'd be going like putting lagers on the board. I like lagers, but I don't think if I said to him, build me a flight, that he'd be like, all right, lagers. But I also think that's partially because we share we do share like almost everything that we drink anyways. And like, I think I probably lean more towards lagers than he does. Yeah. So I think if he were building that flight, he'd be like, what is great for us as a unit? And so I just don't think lagers would fall in there.
Yeah.
The number 3 step on here is adding personalized touches. So it says personal touches increase the evening, making it feel unique and memorable. Consider creating a tasting show with fun facts about each beer or pairing suggestion. This shows effort and adds a layer of curiosity to the night. I'm genuinely not joking. Like, have you seen those videos that people make that are like, we decided to do a a PowerPoint like it's like those PowerPoint presentation parties.
Yeah.
What I think would be so
Unlike
funny,
your current fixation.
But it's like so there's those, but like if we're like, cool, we're gonna have a romantic date night with beer, we're each gonna put together a PowerPoint presentation of if we were a beer flight, what would we be and why, which styles would you pick, which beers you pick. Now like you know, a flight of 6, that's a weird number, we're gonna go a flight of 6 because that's a really good slide deck, go. and then there's just 2 of you and you both show up and you're like, well, the first one would be this. This is why I'm a light lager, because I think that would be fantastic and we should consider doing that. Just putting that motion out there. There's just basically, I won't go through like all of this, but there's a lot in there. The only thing I don't like about this, because I'm not going to go through all of it, the one thing that I didn't like about this article is it says a pint for him, a glass for her, beer lovers Valentine. This section explores how beer pairings can honor individual tastes while creating a shared experience that celebrates your relationship. So like, I understand what they're trying to say here, but I don't love how they fall into the gender norms. So
I don't love that.
Didn't love that. And I will apologize in advance that there are some things that we're talking about in some of the articles today that I didn't love. How they phrased certain things. I will say it as I see it, but that was one of them that I was like, didn't love that. But yeah, I think we can share this in case somebody does want to, if they don't know, like if you're listening to this and you are new into beer and you kind of are like, oh, that would be fun to do for Valentine's Day, and you want to know where to start and you're just like, I don't know where to start, follow this, but not to a T, because gender norms are gross.
Also, I have a beer tasting kit on my Etsy, and I have a Valentine beer and chocolate pairing kit.
Yeah, you do.
Just putting that out there. If you're not sure where to start, I've got a guide.
That's true. You do. If we do, I've got some quick fire questions. So Valentine's Day, do you bring out the special bottle that you've been saving, or is that not like, is that a Valentine's Day, or is that stay in the cupboard?
Nah, I don't care about Valentine's Day enough.
I was gonna say I'm the same, where I'm like, I'm balancing that thing of like that Hallmark day of like, oh, like I don't care about it, but then I'm also like, but do I need to pretend like I care? Like, do I need to, if I'm gonna like go and be like, it's a good excuse for a nice meal, do I also need to take a nice beer out? But then I'm like, we're not too nice.
If I was doing something exciting, then maybe yes. But I'm going to be in London with Cynthia Erivo, so...
Well, this year, I think that's my problem, is that balance of, like, I'm going through all this effort to make a nice meal, I should at least have a nice beer with it. But then I'm like, we're not something fancy. Too nice.
If I'm doing something fancy, then I could get fancy beer out.
Next quick fire question.
Yes.
Most... I love it, like, yes, hit me with it. Yes. Most fitting style for romantic Valentine's Day celebration, stout or something more wild funky?
I mean, I think it depends on what you like. Like automatic answer is I think a stout, maybe a chocolate stout or a fruity stout. But also a fruity sour can work because that'll cut through like rich desserts, which, you know, if you're doing a Valentine's meal, you're probably going to have quite a rich dessert.
I've got red velvet cake coming to me from Get Baked. I pre-ordered it.
Ooh.
That they do just on a cookie dough.
What are you going to pair with it?
Cake with cake. I'm not pairing anything with it. This is like.
I mean, I feel like a chocolate stout would go quite nicely with the red velvet because it should bring out the chocolatey flavour, though. No,
my brain is like
vanilla stout.
I can't fixate and take in the beauty of the two. Like,
okay,
if I'm pairing it, it's like, oh, that's a union. They're coming. It's a package deal, and they're coming together. This cake, the Get Baked cakes, for me, I'm like, this is a solo deal. This is a solo deal. I'm gonna sit there with a cake. Rick doesn't even care about them that much, so I'm like, I'm just gonna eat them. Yeah, so I've got like two different ones. I've got the red velvet and I've got the cookie dough filled one. Okay. So I'm like, I'll just spread out like one Valentine's Day maybe on the red velvet and then
I mean, I'm not
next
gonna
day,
lie.
cookie dough.
I was trying to work out what I was gonna like, where I was gonna eat and stuff while I'm up London. I'm like, I might take myself out for a steak dinner because
Yeah,
Gordon doesn't really eat steak, so I might take myself out for a steak dinner as well, and like find somewhere with nice pastries at some point during the day.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
110%. I really love this for you. Like, I really love this, like,
such
treat
a good
yourself
day. I'm really excited about it.
You really are. More quick fire questions. Chocolate or coffee forward? Which one?
Oh, coffee.
Coffee. I think instinctively I say the same thing because I think for me the coffee comes out more than the chocolate a lot of the time.
Choose. Like, I like both of those, but if I have to choose, coffee.
Coffee. Yeah, agree. Sharing bottle or individual cans?
Oh, have I got people to share it with though?
Say it's
sharing
like
bottle if I've got people to share it with.
Let's say though that it's like, okay, you've got, say Gordon drinks the beer that you drink. You're on a romantic date. Like, is it more romantic?
Share. Yeah.
Is it more romantic to share what you are having, or to be like, you know what, we respect that we like our own. Let's have different things.
I think if I knew that my partner enjoyed what I enjoy, then we should share. I know he doesn't, so it would be individual.
I think I'd probably go individual cans, but sharing the individual cans, because that tends to be what we do now.
That wasn't one of the answers.
No, but it is. Do you want a sharing bottle or individual cans? I'm going to say individual cans. We're going to share those cans. I chose option C. If you happen to be out, would you go like split a flight or split a pint?
Split a flight.
It's a hard one though. I think it depends. If I'm in the US, I'm going to go split a pint. If I'm in the UK, I'm going to go split a flight. Okay. Because the serving sizes in the UK for flights, you get like thirds most of the time. And in the US, you get like thimbles. And so like Rick and I have shared flight. Like we always, we are sharers. So like we will share a flight, and what will happen is it will be like,
sip.
Cool, we each had 2 sips and it's gone.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh. And so when when you just want to taste what a brewery has, you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. But when you really like one of the beers, like, you could just not drink this one. That would be cool. And he takes instinctively, I think he just
literally had that conversation many times.
Involuntarily, I think he just takes bigger sips than I do as well. Yeah. And I'm like, girl,
excuse you.
I'm like, I had like a mouthful of this thimble, and you
very dare you.
Like, no, I didn't. I'm like, you did though. You did. I feel like I don't even have the taste for it. So then you end up getting like the pint anyways, and I kind of think I'd rather split the pint or like a half.
I feel this for you. I feel like divorce is on the cards.
I'm just like, you don't touch. This is the thing is, like, when we split cans or like pints, it's enough where it's like we can actually both enjoy it. And like, maybe I'll be like, you maybe drink a bit more, or I get carried away and I drink a bit more. But like, you can get away with that when it's a whole ass pint.
Yeah.
when it's like this tiny 250, not even like, just like little teeny baby pour, and then they're like, and that's all you got. You're like, oh. I came across this thing as well that I thought I'd share, which I thought was really interesting that I hadn't heard any before. As I was trying to sort through the big wide internet of things, that surprisingly there's not a lot of overlap between love and lagers. I just wanted to keep it in the L's. There's not a lot of like beer themed love content out there. Go figure.
Do you think it's because it's still like a man's thing? And romance gets deemed as a woman's thing.
That's an interesting topic, actually, because I don't know, because I do, on some level, I agree with that. But then on another level, I think it's just not something that people think about, because I just don't think it's a topic that people often even think about to ask that question.
Isn't thought of as a celebration thing. Wine is thought of as a celebration thing.
Yes.
Even sometimes cider is a celebration thing. Spirits like cocktails are a celebration thing. Beer is not for celebration. Beer is for regular consumption.
But I even think like cocktails, celebration, yes. But I think like wine and
Wine's got the monopoly
sparkling,
on the
like
celebrations.
wine has the monopoly on the romance celebrations, I think. But cider, I do think kind of sometimes, depending on what it is. Like I think if you're that market for like that really niche, really like specific aged cider or something that is akin to a sparkling wine, for example, like, okay, yeah, that's more romantic. Like I think you see more wines and like specific types of ciders being more that romantic. Like when you think of romance, like a picnic, and the drink of choice is, it's normally not like, oh, I have this beer that I've taken, like here's a stout, you know. I just don't think that gets put in the same category.
Regular
of course
people
we would, but I also think like it's not even just regular, but I just think like in a beer community sense, even people that really like beer, they don't put two and two together. Like at what point would you think like, I want to hear more about stories that involve love and beer? Like it's just not a topic that I think potentially anyone even cares about, so people have probably shut this podcast episode off already. But in my search, hopefully the chat at the beginning of the books lured them into a false sense of security or something.
Dragged them in.
Just like they're like, now I can't stop because now I need to know what else might come up. But through my searching, I found on Reddit that there was a post somebody made that was called, "In my house, date night means beer roulette. Here's the rules. Here's the results from last night's battle." And I just thought it was really interesting because I'd never heard of people doing this, and I was just thinking how I could tweak this for myself. Like that would be fun.
Of course. But
this is not something that has to be romantic. It's just like for them, this is their date night. But you could easily do this with friends. So this was from 4 years ago, and the OP posted a few years ago, my husband and I went to our local Total Wines, which is a huge beer and wine warehouse. For those unfamiliar, I can vouch it is a huge warehouse, and they've literally got like, it's insane if you've never been to a Total Wines and you're in the US, go to a Total Wines. It's fantastic. But they discovered that there was a large multi-aisle of make your own 6-pack section, including tons of local and seasonal beers. We ended up picking some beers, bringing them home, and making a night of trying and rating them. Since then, beer roulette has evolved into an all-night battle and has quickly become my favorite at-home date night. We each choose 3 to 4 beers and taste them randomly, going back and forth between our choices. After we pour each beer, we inspect it and give a rating prediction labeled P on the board. They've got a photo of like what the board looks like. After tasting, we rate and discuss. We also like to give superlative awards, including best name, best label, and it wasn't great, but it tasted exactly like I thought it would. Not only is it fun, not only is this a fun event every time, it's a great way to find new delicious beers to drink. Our friends and family even like to bet on which one of us will be better each time. So there's more, they've posted more, but that was just kind of like the bit about the beer roulette rules. I really kind of like that concept of like going someplace, going to a shop, going to a place that has lots of breweries or a bottle shop. And, you know, if you're with a larger group, everyone picks one. If you're with a smaller group, you pick a few each. And I think what would be really fun is like not showing that other person, getting them home, bringing it out one by one, and before you even pour it, that's when you kind of do your like pre-pouring, what do I think now I've poured it, what do I think it's going to be like now, and then afterwards, and then like almost they kind of battle each other to see like which one's supposed to. I really like the superlatives part. I thought that was really cute. It sounded like a really fun night. I think the problem is I don't think I could do, I'd have to do that with a beer friend. Like I couldn't have that as a date night because, again, Rick likes beer, but I don't think that he would be like, this is my night and I'm enjoying it. Like, I think it depends on the setting, like what's going on, but I don't think on like a date night, he would be like, this is my idea of a date night. Do you think that you could do this as a date night, or do you think like you just want to do that as like a friend thing?
No, Gordon wouldn't do that with me. So I'd have to do it with you. I could do it with my wife. I couldn't do it with my husband.
It's a date then. That's what we're going to do next time. Is we're going to find somewhere. We're going to like go stay somewhere like we completely random.
Stuff from our stash.
Yeah. So we could do that, but then I feel like you go in with some level of preconceived notion because you've bought that for a reason. So I feel like it has to be like you've gone out, you've bought a random few beers, potentially ones that you've never even heard of before, and just be like, great, this is what we're going for. I love that. So that's beer roulette. I thought I just wanted to share because I thought that would be a really good date night idea. Moving in, before we'll kind of finish these up in a minute and have the next beer, but before we move into kind of the next section of what we're going to talk about. So some of the articles that I'm going to reference in a minute as well came from these 2 articles, which is the topic of going to breweries for dates. When you have first dates, a lot of them like first dates at breweries or just dating in general at breweries. I found an article from the Beer Connoisseur from literally December last year, and one from Brewlosophy, which I think that one was April of last year. And these articles both give a bit of which breweries to go to for a first date. I think they both say some breweries to go to. The Beer Connoisseur one definitely says, like, here's how to plan the perfect date night at a brewery, specifically how to plan the perfect brewery date night. Whereas the Brewlosophy one has some actual suggestions. They're all US suggestions, so that's a bit like fine. But some little snippets from what it says on how to choose the best brewery for a date. So on the Brewlosophy one, it says how to choose. You must consider several factors when choosing the right brewery for your date. First of all, it is the quality of the beer ingredients. Ensure the beer's essential components in a specific brewery are premium malt, fresh hops, pure water, and high grade yeast. The beer's overall aroma, character, and flavor must be pleasing and taste good. I can't imagine. I'm not gonna like. I can't imagine anyone's like, what are the ingredients quality like before I go here?
But I feel like you just wouldn't be like, I'm going to go on a date. I'm going to take like to this brewery that I don't like. Like,
it's true. It's true.
Why would you do that?
I want to get your feedback on this. So they also post about brewery date etiquette and tips.
Ooh.
So it says, being on a beer date, you had better mind the following tips. Start with a flight. Choose a flight to sample multiple beers in minimal portions. Understand beer tasting basics. Appreciate the mouthfeel, aroma, appearance, and taste of beer. Share your impressions via a conversation. This is the best way to start talking through expressing your ideas about a particular beer type. Take it a step further with homebrewing talk. If the date is going well and you're both beer enthusiasts, casually mention homebrewing to give it a shot. That's a bold swing, I think.
That's a bold swing.
Because I like that it says, take it a step further with homebrewing talk. If the date is going well and you're both beer enthusiasts, casually mention homebrewing.
Like, I feel like that whole bit, like, let's talk about our beer tasting. Like, you got to make sure you are, like, if this is a first date and you don't know if this person is, like, a beer person, that's risky. Because they could just be like, cool, I'm on a date with, like, this proper beer nerd. Maybe they are not into that. Like,
I love the idea that they're like a bit much.
On. Like, it's like you could have scuppered yourself.
It's a bit full on, but it's okay.
Right. I'm like, if you're several dates in and you already know that you both enjoy doing that kind of thing, then sure, but not on a first date.
I do think it would be quite a lot
on a first date, right? Like going to a brewery, yes. Like, and you know. Because you're going to work out fairly quickly if they're not a beer person, because they won't order a beer. Like,
that's true. That is very true. To be fair, I feel like the Beer Connoisseur article approaches it a little bit more.
Okay.
On some ways, it's a little bit different. So the first one on here is pick the brewery, pick the rules. So start with the place, not best rated, not the coolest neon sign, which... I'm not going to be funny. You pick the coolest neon sign. I'm there.
Yeah.
I am there.
Depends on your audience.
Says, if your audience is me, pick the one with the coolest neon sign. And the best rating, because I don't go to anything less than a 4-star.
No.
It's just, no, it ain't the one. It's just, there's too many options. Under 4-star, no. It does say, just pick the one that lets 2 people actually talk. If it is mostly standing room, if it has booths, if it blasts music, and if it has food that is not only a sad bowl of nuts.
Yeah.
So it's like, it says check if it is mostly standing room, if it has booths, if it blasts music, and if the food is not only a sad bowl. I really love that it calls it a sad bowl of nuts.
A sad bowl of nuts.
If the menu is mostly 9% ABV barrel monsters, that is not a cute first meat choice. That is a speed run. Set timing with intent. Early evening beats late night because the staff is less stressed and your brain still works. Also, plan the exit route before your first sip. If you need to use a ride home, decide it now, not after one more. I thought that was a really good tip. Like, know your, because this is presumably, you know, you don't really know this person that well. It could be a blind date. It could be so it says, you know, if you met online, agree on the basics in one message, where to meet inside, how long to stay, and one tiny goal. Slide it in casually. For example, anywhere else people meet, like, this is the same. The point is the same. Do not walk in with zero plan and hope the universe writes your evening for you. Order smart. A flight is a built-in talking tool and it slows the pace. One person can pick 2 beers, the other person can pick 2. Done. Skip the whole I drink anything. Nobody believes it anyway. If you hate dark beer, say so. If you hate sours, also say so. Honesty is cheaper than forced sipping. That's really hard because that's bullshit. I do drink anything.
But you actually do. Like, it's not just saying it because you're being nice.
Just skip it. Nobody believes it. Believe me.
But also, if you're picking 2 beers and 2 beers, then you're picking 2 beers, so it's okay.
The thing is, I genuinely, like, the amount that does raise a valid thing though as well, like the amount of times that someone's like, so what do you like? I'm like, oh, like, what's your favorite, like, what would you sort of recommend? Because like, what do you want to drink? I'm like, oh, I don't really know. And they're like, I can recommend something. Like, what do you like? And I'm like, I literally like anything. And they're like, do you have any preferences? I'm like, no, I didn't walk in here with any preferences. Like, I am not leaning towards if I was leaning towards something, I wouldn't be sat here making up my mind.
If I said that and I was like, I will try anything, I literally mean, give me your favorite off of that board, because I don't care. I'll try any of it. Like, but we're that adventurous with beer. I think not everybody is.
It is that thing though. If I know that's probably like a bartender's worst nightmare, is someone being like, I drink anything, give me a suggestion, because they're like, I don't know what to say. But like, what if that is just how I am? I don't know. So the number 2 on here is from chat to in person without the awkward crash. So online chat makes it easy to seem smooth because you can edit, store, and hide behind emojis. In person is raw. A brewery is good for this because there are other constant small topics: what to try next, what smells weird, what the food looks like, where to sit, if you should move away from the yelling group. Keep a shared mission so there's always something to do. aka like, find the best stout or the weirdest label or the cleanest lager. It is not childish, it is practical.
I really just want to point out that it's not always true that people are smooth online, that it's easy to be smooth online, because
it's very not. It's easier to be smooth.
I nearly dumped my husband because of something he told me when we were chatting online, because he was a smart ass. And I was just like, I don't like that. And I didn't talk to him for a week. And then we picked up again, and he's lucky that I forgave him, because we've been married and we've been together for 10 years. So
I think the thing is, everyone has the ability to be smooth online. Whether or not they are is a different matter.
We still talk about it, about how it's very lucky that I forgave him.
Well, I think, like, what I really, really like about this whole situation though is it is just acknowledging that someone can be very different online than like when you're in person. Yeah. And I really like that, you know, it also kind of acknowledges that sometimes it's not through any fault of your own. It can just be that you're nervous, like maybe you're a really nervous person, so the conversation doesn't flow. I really like that it points out that you have these built-in conversation points, as long as you kind of go in with that in your mind. Like, it's something that I don't think, you know, I do that, but I don't go in consciously thinking about doing that. But I think there's other people that might panic in the moment, get anxiety and freeze. So like, reading this might be really helpful to them, because they're like, oh, what are things at the brewery that I could then sit and have? It, like, a brewery does make it so much more inviting. Like, if there's kit there, or somebody's actually brewing, or like there's a, you know, shuffleboard, like you could be like, cool, let's go and play shuffleboard. Or, you know, there's a lot of points there in which you could even like they said, like talking about the beer. I know we just kind of said like that's a lot for a date, but like if you are having quiet points in that date, you could be like, oh, how do you like the beer? Like, did you enjoy that? What do you want? What would you have next?
I have a point. So I mean, it's been a very long time since I went on a first date. But I did go on a date with a guy who worked at a brewery once.
Oh.
And so we'd met up. We were going for dinner. Then we got there and turned out that he worked for this brewery, and he was in charge of tasting the water to make sure that the water was fine. So he'd taste the beer, but he'd also taste
interesting.
The water. And so it was an organic certified brewery, so they had to taste the water and make sure the water was fine every time. And so I'm a beer person. I was a beer person at this point, and I was like, I love beer. Like, tell me more about that. Like, that's so interesting. He just wouldn't tell me. He was like, no, people don't like to hear me talk about it. And I was like, no, I'm super interested. Like, tell me. He just wouldn't talk to me about it.
I think that would be really off-putting, because I would find that really interesting. But even if I didn't find it interesting, and I just was like, I want a conversation point.
Yeah.
That's an easy conversation point. Cool. Tell me about that aspect of your job.
Tell me more about that.
And if they were like, no, it's not interesting anyways, and then I insisted, and then they were still like, nah, no, I'd be like, okay, that's off-putting.
Well, it was a very interesting date, because so we met up, I think we had a beer, we were talking about stuff, and then I was talking about my job. I was still on cruise ships at the time, and then we got into this whole conversation about how I was just like, oh yeah, I just got back from a contract, and I was like, oh, the thing, I was like, haven't been like really nice to come to a restaurant and have food, because it's always a buffet. Downstairs is a buffet, upstairs is a buffet.
Real food.
always like picking your food from a buffet rather than being able to get it presented to you. So it's really nice to go to a restaurant. And he's like, we're going to go to this Chinese. He's like, I've not been there, but I've had the takeaway and it's really good. And I was like, okay, cool. We walked in, it was a buffet. So already he was just like, oh no. And I'm like, no, this is funny. Like, it's fine. So we had dinner. Then we were talking about his job, and he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me about it. So I just talked about me for the entire time, because he wouldn't say anything. And then we went to a pub and got another beer, and I was like, oh, this is your brewery, right? Like, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, should I get that one? And he was like, yeah, I guess. So I got it, and then we were literally sat in the beer garden with our beers, and we were like looking around, running out of things to say. I'm like, I can't say anything more about me. And I was just like, okay, well. And then he was going to Japan for work, and I was going off somewhere, and I was like, oh, well, got my number if you want to message me when you're back from Japan. And he's like, yeah, okay. We didn't message each other again.
It sounds like
really
that's
sad.
I mean, it would have been sad had he told you about what he does with tasting the water.
And I was just like, oh no.
That is just, it's that thing of like cover your eyes, just hearing of
awkward. And I was just like,
awkward. And then you're like, I guess we finished this date out.
Guess we're done. Okay, finish up my beer. Gonna go home.
Well, there's actually a really good point that we're going to talk about the benefits of having a date at a brewery that is kind of similar to that, but we'll come up to that piece. The next piece that they've kind of given on this advice list is drink math. So it's called drink math, pacing, and not waking up to regret. So brewery beers can be sneaky. A nice pint might be stronger than you assume, and a flight can add up fast. Keep it simple. Count actual drinks. Knowing standard drink sizes helps, because strength changes the math, even when the glass looks innocent. Eat real food. Drink water between beers. If that sounds boring, cool. Enjoy the headache then. Also, pick a personal cap before you arrive. 2 beers, 3 beers, whatever fits your body and your plans for tomorrow. The goal is staying sharp enough to talk and safe enough to get home without drama. And yes, plan the ride. If either person is driving, keep it low or skip alcohol entirely. There is nothing romantic about arguing with a rideshare app at 1 a.m. while the room spins. I love that. I thought that was really good. Very valid. And then where the night really lands. A perfect brewery date night is this. Pick a talk-friendly place that reflects the local beer market. Set a tiny plan, order with intention, watch basic manners, pace the drinks, and lock in the ride home. Do that and the date will be about the person, not about the damage control. So I actually thought that this advice was actually really practical advice, which was really good for somebody that's like, oh, I don't know if again, we'll talk about it later about like sort of it is a little bit of hit and miss depending on who you talk to about whether or not you should take a date, especially a first date, to a brewery or any drinking kind of locations for various reasons. But I think like that's a really sensible way to say like, yeah, no, it is fun, but here's the things to take into consideration. So yeah, that's I'm ready for another drink. Are you ready for another drink?
I am ready.
Okay, second beer. What are you drinking and why?
So I went for a dessert beer.
Ooh,
and I've got
I see you, girl.
Black Forest buttermilk pancake stack from Buxton.
Ooh, I think I have a pancake stack one still.
Oh, it's delicious.
It's
9.7% danger juice, but but it is delicious. That felt like pudding beer, so I thought that'd be good for Valentine's Day.
I love that. I went more slightly different direction than like the dessert element. So I've got a Lindeman's Farrow lambic beer.
Very nice.
And I think I chose it because it feels special. It feels celebratory. It feels
fancy.
It feels fancy as fuck. So like my first one was like, you're feeling sexy, and now it's like, oh, she fancy. She's artisanal. This is a beer artisanal. So yeah, I'm, I was feeling sexy. Now I'm feeling spontaneous fermentation. But that's the thing. Like, and look at that silver top. Look at that.
Took a mouthful as you said that. You could have warned me. I nearly spit stout all over my laptop.
I didn't think that was gonna land, and I thought we would just edit that out. But that's fine. I didn't think it would land quite as well as it did,
That's
and
good.
I'll take it. But yeah, like look at that. That's silver foil. Like,
She fancy.
Is it wax? No, but it's the next best thing to wax, and there's no cork in it, so
always good.
It's not a struggle.
Love a surprise cork. No one's like, oh god, where's my cork?
No one's maiming themselves. No one's maiming themselves today, and it just it just looks nice. So
I've got mine in my Boutilliers glass.
Oof.
Because me and you kind of went on a date when we got this glass, so
yeah, we did. I've got mine somewhere. I forgot. I don't take that one out because I'm really like scared of
both of these came out.
I'm like, I'll never get one again.
Yeah, both of these came out of the fancy glass cupboard, and I did go down to pick my glasses because I was like, you know what? I am going to pick special glasses because it's Valentine's, so we're talking about special things, and maybe you would pick appropriate glassware and get the good glassware out, right? Like, we're not holding back on the good stuff anymore. We're just going to use it because we don't know when the world's going to end. So let's just
we're keeping it light.
Good stuff.
We're keeping it light.
So
the world is not going to end.
I got the good glasses out of the good glass cupboard, especially for you.
That. Oh, I've just got a Cloudwater one because it's like this is a 330 mil. I wish that on the moment I could think of like a really good reason why I picked it, but it was because it was like a nice fancy stemmed glass. That's it. It's like, it's a stemmed glass. Yeah. It's like a little gold etched to the Cloudwater logo, and I just thought it's a small stemmed glass with gold on it. Why not?
Perfect.
So not quite as like emotionally appealing as yours, but
all of my beers are very emotional tonight. Like, I didn't mean them to be.
I know, genuinely. Oh, this is really nice. Genuinely, that when you were just at the start, when you were like, did you curate yours? Did you specifically pick them? I'm like, no, not. I mean, I did, but not like heavily to everything. And you're like, oh, I did. And then you're like, and this is an emotional glassware and emotional this. I was like,
I went for it.
Shit, I really undercooked it. We've had, so like talking about where you got that glass. Yeah, on our little our date, on our ladies' date, talking about dates to tap rooms. So I've searched across a few articles and covered the best breweries for first dates. Again, really hard to find because like a lot of these articles, what I've noticed is there's a lot of talk when it comes to beer and dating, or good date night bit like beer spots or something like, they all tend to be like really old, like multiple years old, and there's just nothing new. So I would love,
does that suggest that
maybe be the change you want to see and I need to just do it? But
is that because people are only just really starting to go back out again.
Yeah, potentially, but like
stayed in.
Some of what I was looking at was like 15 years old, and that's like
that's not a reason.
I didn't reference any of the things that were that old, but like, or 10 years old. Like we're saying this is not 2020 related. This was like 2017, 2015, like, and I was just like, oh, that's quite old. So I didn't take those ones into consideration. I tried to chop it down to, there's only one that's older, but I tried to, and I validated that the places that I mentioned are still open and they're still places that you can go to. So according to, start with the London Economic, so I've taken like the blurb and where it is. So the best recommendation I thought from the London Economic was Euston Tap and / the cider tap. I've been to Euston Tap. Have you been to Euston Tap?
I got stuck in Euston because I had bought my ticket to Manchester and they changed the timings, like they changed the timetable like a week between me buying my ticket and me actually going. And then my ticket, which should have worked, then fell into peak, and it was an off-peak ticket. So I had to wait until 6 o'clock to be able to get on a train. I missed a little Earth Project beer tasting at Pomona's gas lamp because I couldn't get there on time. But I spent some time in the Euston Tap.
So as far as the Euston Tap and the cider tap, so the excerpt from the London Economic is, a Victorian gatehouse just outside Euston Station is home to one of London's best craft beer bars. The Euston Tap offers a rotating selection of 8 cask ales, 20 keg beers, and over 150 bottles from all over the world. What's more, the tap's petite size is ideal for romance. The sought-after tables are the right size for intimate conversation, and if there's no room inside, the heated beer garden is the perfect place to visit during a well-lit London summer. And if you or your date don't like beer, there's no need to worry. Directly opposite the Euston Tap is the Cider Tap, another Victorian gatehouse full of craft booze, only this one specialises in cider. So
that time I was there, I did take a picture because they had a sparkler on their tap. And I was like, sparkler in London, guys.
Hey, like, everyone.
Look at this.
When you get up to Manchester, you're like, look, everyone.
I'm like, there was a sparkler on in London.
So, like, you prepared for when you're in Manchester and someone takes the piss out of you, you're like, well, what is this then?
There's a sparkler. And I put it up, and then I got a message from Radim from Budvar, and he was like, also, there are side pours in that picture. Do they have Czech lager? And I was like, no. They do.
Yeah, they absolutely
what's coming out
do
the
not.
Side pours? I was like, I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine. I have had side pours in Japan as well. That like they were doing Budvar in side pours, and literally there's like one place I went to that had the Budvar and side pours. I was like watching them as they were pouring it because I was like, are they going to do it properly? But then of course it's Japan, so of course they are, because they probably like, we thought about this and we put all the time, effort in research. We sent people over to be trained. Like that's probably what's happened. The second place I think you might like, and I feel like if I could go to North Carolina, I would like this. So Brewery Bavana in Raleigh, North Carolina. So Brewery Bavana, so this is from, sorry, I should say, that was the only one from the London Economic. Oh, actually, sorry, there was one more. The White Cross in Richmond. Okay. So this is a grade 2 listed pub right on the Thames. So close, in fact, that the pub terrace / entrance tends to flood and get cut off at high tide. But don't worry, the staff provide wellies for anyone wanting to brave the waters, an event that is getting increasingly popular. They even list the high tide times on the boards outside of the pub. Splashing around toddler style is what is essentially one of London's biggest puddles. Might not be a classic romantic move, but it is sure to make for a pretty unforgettable date. Yeah. What do you think about that?
That's cool. Like, I'd have to be in the right mood for it. I'd have to be aware that that's what I'm going to do. Not like I've turned up to a pub in my nice date outfit and then I've got to like put wellies on and wait for a puddle.
You don't have to sit there. So like it's only a certain part of the pub.
Okay. But if that was like, if you're like, I've got this really fun date thing, we're going to wade through the waters at the pub, and you're not prepared for that, that could be a bit of a sour note, I think.
Well, this is a question. If the plan isn't for you to necessarily be in the puddles, but like to just go there because it's unique. If somebody didn't plan on taking you in the puddles, but you watched other people, would you want to go and get involved? Because I would.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Because I think that if that wasn't the plan, I'd be like, I want to do that. That looks fun.
Like, yeah, it also depends on how you're dressed, right? Like if you're wearing like a nice skirt, you just hitch it up and go.
Yeah, I would. I genuinely, I actually would. I'd be like, actually, the skirt's better because I can pull that, I can hike that up a lot easier than my dungarees.
I like subscribe to the school that is there is no wrong weather, there's just wrong clothing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so, I can deal with it being cold. I can deal, like, I prefer it to be dry, but I can deal with it being wet if I've got, my waterproofs and, hood and stuff. Like, if I'm prepared for whatever the weather is, I can continue on. Like, I'm fine with it. Doesn't matter. But you've got to be prepared.
See, I think I subscribe to there is wrong weather, but also there's also wrong attitudes. So my attitude is like, do I like it when it snows? No. I've done my time. I've served my sentence. I had, decade. I'm done. Like when I went back at Christmas and it snowed, I was like, I didn't bring appropriate clothing, but my attitude was also like, I don't want to bring the right clothing. Could I have made it work? Yeah. Did I? No. Didn't want to. Rick shoveled out and I was like, I wish I could. My Vans are very light coloured. They're not meant for this. They're high tops, but they're not high enough. Yeah, no, exactly. But that is my mindset attitude. Okay. If you're telling me it's the summer, I'm dressed, for me, I give no shits in what I'm dressed like if I'm at a pub and that shit floods and I know that that's going to happen, even if I don't know it's going to happen, and I see other people playing like toddlers in that puddle, brother, I'm in there. Like, hold me back. Like, I don't even care. That's not an outfit thing. That's, for me, that's a mindset thing. And I think I'm actually going to judge the person I'm with if they're like, I don't know, I wish I could get in there, but if they did a me at Christmas and they're like, I wish I could get in there, unfortunately, like, and I'd be like, I guess I'll play in the puddle alone. Like, that is fine. But I thought the reason I chose to call that one out from that article was because I did think it was interesting. Like, there is a twist on that. There's like a lot of the places that were listed was just like, yeah, this place is cool. It's got nice food. It's got this intimate setting. But I'm like, okay, but what's different about it? So I felt like on the Euston Tap, because it has that Victorian aesthetic to it, and it is that really small, intimate space. But then you also have that thing of like, cool, and if that person doesn't really drink beers, or that's, they want more cider, like, you can go over and immediately go to a Victorian place that sells cider. Like, I think it's a character. Yeah, there's more of like a character property to it, which is nice. And this one, the White Cross in Richmond, like, just seems cool. I think I've heard about it before on a podcast I listened to that does like paranormal stuff, and they did a pub crawl around London. And I think if this is the same place that I'm thinking of, because it also flooded this place they went to, it was a place where pirates would go to, I think, and there was potentially it was haunted. Yeah, like that. And I was like, oh, so I think any place you take me on a date to someplace like that, especially if you're like, there was pirates, it was haunted, there's
that sounds cool,
smugglers, there's a cool history. I'm like, let's go. And if you know the history and you can talk to me about that history, we're going on a second date. Like, this is great. Right, so now on to the one that I was going to say. So in the Brewlosophy article, so they had a few that I thought were worth calling out. So Brewery Bavana. So Brewery Bavana is about world-class beer, tasty food, and lush space. You can also purchase a bouquet. This is one thing I don't like, and I don't co-sign with the gender roles. You can purchase a bouquet for your female partner in a unique flower shop. So if I'm buying flowers for Rick, I don't know if they will or won't sell it to me.
Right.
I don't know. I think this is just partner? I think it's just how this article is written. Yeah, I don't know, so I could be misspeaking, so somebody could correct me, but I do feel like anytime this blog comes up, it does tend to be more like masculine-y. So I could be wrong, and it might just be what I'm looking for. But yeah, says you could purchase a bouquet for your female partner in the unique flower shop. The waiting time will not bother you anymore because there is a lovely bookstore where you can find the type of reading you like. So I thought you'd like that because this place looks really cool. If you look it up, it's in Raleigh, North Carolina. If you look it up, it literally is just like a really cool like brewery dining room. Like they've got really nice looking food. And they've just got an open area that's a wall of bookshelves and some flowers. So you can buy flowers, you can buy a book.
So if you're in Portland, Oregon, there is Rose City Books, and you can buy books. It is also a cafe and a beer bar.
Nice.
And I went there and had a lovely cream ale and bought a book of local mythology. Like
that's fun.
Local kind of stories about Portland that I haven't read yet. But
see, I think I'd have to like sit there and read it while I was there and like get in the.
I was there with other people, mood. So I couldn't.
Yeah, I'd be like, shh. I'd be reading it out to them. Like we are all reading about laws,
but we like we sat legends. And we had a little wander around and like we had a couple of beers and then off we went. It was a good time.
I love that. Yeah. They also mentioned Foam Brewers in Burlington, Vermont, which I tried to go into one night. The reason I put it on this list is I did try to go into it one night, but they had a gig on, so I couldn't go in because they were closed for a ticketed gig. Yeah. But it does say that, you may visit for the most adorable brewery date with zero regrets. Indeed, the space will astonish you with eye-catching metal sculptures, plus the industrial chic design. Foam Brewers serves charcuterie plates. However, a food truck is parked outside. If you're a fan of a particular music genre, you may check their website to see who plays there on a specific date and taste for one of Vermont's best beers. So I thought like that's good if you're like a music-y couple.
You missed it on the charcutes.
When did I miss out on charcutes? Oh, when I didn't go. Yeah. Go. I know. You're telling me about it. But there was lots of charcuterie. Don't worry about that.
That's okay then.
Yeah.
You got your quota in.
I was gutted because I drank Foam Brewers anyways, but I was like, I want to drink it on tap from the brewery. And then they were like, no, there's a gig on. And I was like, okay, I guess not. This next place I genuinely really want to go to. So Brewery Vivint Grand, I don't know if I've said that right, if it's Vivint or if it's Vivint, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Are you looking for the most exciting and freshest beer date experience? If so, why not have a date in a refurbished funeral home? The beers might be traditional. Yeah, the beers might be traditional and the brewery might be historic, but this is your chance to try something extraordinary. For instance, you will enjoy European food and farmhouse beers in a rustic setting. The brewery is in the original place to have the most memorable moment with your date. So I'm like, and when you look at it, if you look this place up, it's cool as shit because it's like it almost looks like it's got this like churchy vibe to it where there's like a stained glass window. I just think it sounds really cool. So that was those ones. And then the last set of ones that I had, it was from Hop Culture, but this is the one that's like the older article. So I had to kind of validate what was still active and what wasn't. So the first one on that list is Homage Brewing, which is Pomona, California. So I did kind of say at the time that this was written, they had a bring your own food policy.
Okay.
So I don't know if this still stands because it sounds like when I've looked them up that they now have multiple locations and that they might have like food being served somewhere or takeaway food, at least one of the locations, but the other location might not, but it didn't say. But like the quote that I took it from was, the brewery's well lit and airy tap room makes for a comfortable afternoon enjoying basket pours of fruit forward beers or cans of double IPA. Homage doesn't serve food, but you're welcome to bring your own food. Make some sandwiches, maybe a cheese plate if you're feeling adventurous, and enjoy a cozy date in downtown Pomona. So I thought that the reason I put that on there was because like if there was a brewery that was like a bring your own food type deal, that could make a really cute little like picnic. Indoor picnic. Yeah. So instead of doing like do a picnic, go outside and I have to pack the drinks and then like the drinks get warm as you sit out there and stuff, like it could be quite nice to just bring your own picnic lunch but bring it to a brewery. So
yeah, that's fun. I like that.
I thought that would make for like a really cute, because you could like have a pre-date where it was like you make the lunch together or you go shopping for the ingredients if you're going to do like a cheese tasting type thing. So that's why I put that could be a cute date. So look out for some place that's bring your own food. And then they had Circa Brewing in Brooklyn, New York, but it looks like they have recently changed their name to Sound and Fury Brewing, but it still is listed as Circa Brewing Co. and then in brackets it says Sound and Fury, so I'm not 100% sure. But the reason I put this on there is because it mentioned at the time of writing this that, so it says, one of New York City's latest additions, Circa Brewing Co. provides everyone's favorite pairing, beer and pizza. The beer produced in the open concept brew house is great, but Circa's pizza is among the best in New York. That's high praise, but it's well deserved. The brewery itself is gorgeous, but enjoy a pie or two with a few beers before playing some shuffleboard in the back. It looks like they now potentially have a more extensive menu than they had. So it's not just pizza, but they do still do pizza from what I can tell. I couldn't see anything that suggested there was any actual like pairings, but then it could be I took that out of context and it was never like a specifically paired thing. But yeah, I was just like, I mean, you don't often get places that are, a lot of times you go to these breweries and sometimes like, oh, it's really good food, but they don't actually make an effort. It's very rare that you go to a place that actually makes an effort to say, here is a piece of food and here is the drink that I would suggest. I think it's more of an upscale place, like an upscale, really independent, like really small microbrewery that will kind of put in that effort to say, this is really good food and this is what I pair with it. But I really liked that it was pizza in beer because I thought that's really accessible. Like, not a lot of people don't like pizza, and probably especially in New York, and so like that's probably like the most New York pairing I could think of.
Is it good New York pizza though?
Women says it's among the best in New York according to this.
Okay then.
This article.
Okay.
I mean, and it looks like now they've got like a head chef that's got like, they've got like an actual head chef type person in the kitchen. So I imagine the food is also really, really good. And I also thought it was interesting, based on the topic, that when I looked as of 2 days ago, they had join us the 5th of Feb for singles night for people who hate singles nights. So Love Taps is the revolutionary new matchmaking solution by the dating experts at S&F, combining cold beer and hot singles. It sounds like hilarious. Hot babes in your area.
It does.
So yeah. But it says what to expect: low pressure, high vibes, drink specials all night, come solo or bring a friend, hot singles of all genders and orientations welcome. I like the idea that someone tries to come in and they're like, not you, you're not hot. But they're like, you must stay out.
Who's judging?
Because it specifically says hot single, so like all genders and orientations welcome, but you must be hot. And I think I would have that like the inner anxiety, but also like the inner like dark sense of humor that I'd have. I'd come in and be like, am I hot enough? Can I come in? Like I'd be like, I'm worried you're gonna reject me. I just noticed that it said hot singles, which it really makes me chuckle. It shouldn't, because it's not. That's not very brave noise of them. But I'm sure that in their minds everyone's a hot single. Everyone's like hot. If you're single, you're hot.
Yeah.
But just reading that out loud makes me chuckle. Which does bring me to the topic of through all this research I've done, there's been a lot of having first dates at breweries, red or green flag. I've got some pros and cons. I've got some articles that I've read this off of that we can link to if people want to read into it more. But before I read out pros and cons, like, what's your feeling about going on a first date at a brewery?
I mean, I don't feel like it's any different than going to a bar, right? Like, if you're picking a bar, you don't know if that person is going to enjoy that type of bar. Like, true. So I feel like you know, it's just another place where you can get a beverage together. As you were reading that, I was thinking like, there's no examples for the UK if you're trying to work out how to do it, but I think you need to, like, it needs to be a place that serves food, because you can't be drinking and not eating proper food, or as you said, somewhere where you can bring your own food and then bring like a little picnic. I think it needs to be, unless you are aware that this person is a beer person, you got to make sure that they've got other beverages than beer, so that person doesn't feel awkward. And as you said, like, you don't want very loud music. the whole point of a first date is to, you know, meet someone and get to know them. So you need to be able to chat to them. So those are kind of key things to think about, I think.
Yeah, I think you've nailed some of it for sure.
And you think about that any bar, pub, whatever that you were going to. So
you say that, but like I genuinely think when I was probably younger, now that I'm older and I think more about accessibility and inclusion and those type of things, and like, you know, for example, you never know if somebody has impaired hearing, so going to someplace that's really loud and noisy and expecting them to have, you know, a straightforward conversation with you is like that's it's going to be difficult for them. I think I've learned that now through just being part of the beer community and talking to lots of being a woman in beer, I think, and trying to navigate that landscape and talking to more people that have more needs for inclusion and accessibility because of that. Like, it's given me that different outlook over the last few years. And I think if you were to say like a younger me, like maybe somebody going on a first date in my early 20s, I wouldn't think about those things, I don't think. So I think it's really important that some of these articles are covering those pros and cons, because I think I'd just be like, a bar's a bar, like, get to know you, it's fine. But I don't think I would ever think twice about volume levels, just as like the most basic example. Or like, I know that there are places as well here. So like, I would say like Sirens RG1 is a bar that has more than just beer. It serves proper food. So like that would tick a box for you and that type of thing. Like if you're a beer drinker, it's not the brewery, but it's the brewery tap room. Like it's a extended tap room for the brewery that's in a main city location. So also the benefit of that is if you aren't feeling it, like if you have food and then you're like, oh, maybe this isn't the right setting, you're in central Reading, so you're bound to be able to find something else that is more the vibe and the setting you're going for. But yeah, I think you pretty much know. So just looking at some of the pros, so the articles that I've pulled, I'm not going to call out where each thing was from, but the articles that I pulled them from were Breweries in PA did one, did an article, Beer Connoisseur did an article, and some website called 25 Dates did an article. And I kind of just tried to summarize across all of them what the pros and cons were. So the pros and cons of having a first date or early stage dates at a brewery. So the pros were that they can feel safer, both physically and emotionally. So the bustle, so this is a quote from it, the bustle is just sufficient enough to be relaxed, yet the environment encourages natural communication. I thought that was valid. It encourages sharing and a perceived sense of intimacy. So the quote there was, sharing a drink can be a bonding experience, creating a sense of camaraderie and togetherness. And then there was another pro that was test compatibility and their relationship to alcohol. So the quote for that was, how your date handles alcohol can provide insights into their character. It's an opportunity to see if you share similar attitudes towards drinking. Then I also noted as well, just from my own observation of reading these things, that I also felt that it can give you an insight into who that person is on some level as well, based on the location that they chose. So I know that we don't like to make snap judgments, but the reality is we all have an unconscious bias and people do make first impressions, and that is how it is. And I think, like, I know when I go into certain tap rooms, like, oh, this is a vibe that suits me, or this isn't a vibe that suits me. And that's not to say that somebody that picks a tap room that's not my vibe is someone I'm not going to gel with, or that I'm judging them as a person or anything, but it might give you an insight into, like, if you go to a sports bar, that might give you an insight into some of their hobbies and interests, or certain things about them that you can then probe into more, because now you kind of like worked out, okay, this is a space that makes them feel safe and comfortable. But I guess it's whoever chose that location, right? So it's like whoever chose that location, this is clearly a space that they feel safe in, that represents what they enjoy, and that they're going to have a good time in this space, most likely, unless they say on the outfront, like, I've never been here before, don't know what it's like. But if this is I come here all the time, I thought this would be a great place to take you, it can probably tell you a little bit about their personality. You then have the cons, which are overindulgence, which can then lead to impaired judgment or total misjudgment. It can then, in a worst case scenario, you could end up in a dangerous situation. Similarly, it can give you a distorted attraction and expectations. So, like, an example is to whether or not a date will lead to physical intimacy, because potentially with drinking involved, people didn't read the body language, the signals aren't being read properly. But equally, like, it's not they mention like the beer goggles thing, like, tongue in cheek, because it's not really beer goggles. Like, it's not that, but alcohol can impair your judgment to a level of, you might find somebody potentially more interesting having had alcohol than if you, depending on how much alcohol you consume. It's not just about attraction level, but like from an interesting point of view, you might have that impaired judgment where you are actually thinking somebody is more interesting to you and compatible with you than maybe they might actually be. And you might find out later that, like, oh yeah, no, actually that didn't gel with me at all. Or you might miss red flags, really. So alcohol being used as a social crutch. So I thought this was particularly interesting, which is, when you teach your brain, I only feel funny, attractive, funny, or brave after a few beers, you, 1, reduce your ability to connect sober, 2, increase the risk of drinking more than you meant to, and 3, make it hard to notice obvious red flags. Which I thought that was a very valid observation. And then the final one is kind of what you pointed out already, which is that allergies and preferences. So you might pick a place that, if someone's gluten-free, especially if you're not really if you don't have these requirements, you might not realize that, what beers are and aren't gluten-free, and maybe this brewery doesn't have any gluten-free available, or maybe they're vegan and this brewery's got like lactose in all the beers that they've got available, not, vegan friendly. You don't, it can be, if it's not properly vetted and you don't know this person, you could be putting them either in an uncomfortable situation, or, if they've got allergies, just like not a great situation in general. And then it makes it more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So what do you think about those pros and cons? Like, did any of those resonate? Do you feel strongly one way or another?
I was also thinking about it, and like, from a safety standpoint, of this is a person that you're meeting for the first time, you don't necessarily know a lot about them. A lot of good tap rooms can be in the middle of nowhere, in an odd place, in an industrial estate, down a dark alleyway.
We're here in the UK anyways. I know in the US it's like potentially slightly more accessible.
I mean, there are still some that I've got, like, you've driven out of the way to get to them, right? Like, just because it's your favorite tap room, if it's not accessible, like, and if someone's got to get like an Uber and they've got to wait a chunk of time for that to turn up, like, because it's far out and not easily accessible, then that may not be the best choice as well. I think, like, even if it's a great brewery, like, no shade to the breweries that are out on industrial estates, like, breweries go where they, with the space that they need, right? But for a first date, that may not be the best choice, because also, you might not enjoy being with them, and you might want to make a speedy exit. So, and
it might be, it's a lot harder to get an Uber. It's an Uber getting to you in an industrial estate, which you didn't even realize had no signal until you got there, and then you're like, shit, there's no signal. What do I do?
So think about definitely think about your exit strategy, or if someone else needs an extra, would have a comfortable exit if they needed it.
Yes. I mean, Rick did speed date. One of the things that came up when I was looking through as well. I think I'm team breweries as a green flag.
Yeah, I think so. I
think
generally, yes.
Maybe amber, because I'm thinking green flag, but you have to make some considerations. Yeah. I wouldn't say red flag. I think it's, I know a lot, it's controversial for some people. I think for me, I'm amber, like verging on green, but I'd say green, assuming everyone's, the only reason I'm going amber is because you can't control both sides of that first date situation. You can only control one side of that first date situation.
Agreed.
One of the things that came up as well about stuff about dating at breweries, like speed dating at breweries, and Rick did one obviously a very long time ago. And so I was asking him about it, and he had a really positive experience, and he's like pro green flag, and he was saying, like, if it wasn't at a brewery, he thinks it would have ended up in a very different way, in the sense of like it just wouldn't have been as a good time. So he was saying that he went to 0 Degrees for this speed dating event, and the consumption piece wasn't a problem because you bought your own drinks, but like not only did you buy your own drinks, but you didn't have, it was like 3 minutes with each person. There was only 15 people, so it was roughly 45 minutes. This is obviously based on his memory, which is like I think I'm remembering this properly, but this is what I remember of it, which was a positive experience. So let's say like 45 minutes to an hour, which is like, you know, not enough time to even get that many drinks in.
No.
And there were no breaks in between. It was just like your 3 minutes, now the next person, now the next person. And so that wasn't necessarily an issue. And he was like, oh, the best part for me as well was like, I went with my female friend. So him and his female friend, who he used to live with at the time, they both went to the speed dating event. And the best part is obviously because they were opposite genders, they eventually got sat at the same table. And he was like, that was like a secret hack, because he was like, we ended up like obviously having to do our 3-minute dates. And he goes, we had 3 minutes. We could just debrief with each other and we could talk about how we thought it was going. We could offer each other advice. He was like, literally, it was so good. He goes, because we could say, this is how we think it's going and this is what we're concerned about. And what do you think about this, that, and the other thing? And then they could give advice to each other to be like, oh, you should definitely approach it like this or try doing that. And then he was like, I don't think if I went with another male that I would have, A, we wouldn't have crossed paths like that. But B, it also would have been a case of he doesn't think he'd get that same feedback and advice in the same way. So like that was a proper hack as well. So he said that was really good. And then he said like, top tip for Rick, go with somebody that's dating that you might get paired up with, and they can help you out. And he was also saying as well that like they basically encouraged you to stick around afterwards for drinks. Like it wasn't like a normal speed dating event where they kind of like, and we're done, go home, bye. It was like actively encouraged to stay around after and have some drinks. And so he's like, obviously we got there early, we had a few drinks, we did the speed dating, and then we stuck around and we had some more drinks as well. But everyone kind of stuck around, and he said it was really good because you could, if there was someone you thought you might be interested in, you could kind of talk to them a little bit more informally. You could kind of see how they gel in more of a social situation. And then he was kind of saying that like, at the end of it all, a group of them just went out to another place after as well. And he was like, you know, his friend at the time, you know, she thought she liked someone, she really liked them. And then, you know, they hit it off and that was good. And Rick was like, I didn't really hit it off with anyone, but I made some really good quote unquote friend, like not long-term friends, but like had a really good night out, met a lot of really nice and interesting people, had a lot of really interesting conversations. And I said to him, like, do you think you could have achieved that in another setting that wasn't a brewery? And he was like, no. He was adamant that he's like, I don't think so, because that setting, the atmosphere there, it was like hanging out in a bar on a Saturday night, but more relaxed. It was like not as loud. It was more comfortable, calm, that element of you could open up to people a little bit more. And because they were encouraged to sit and have some drinks after, like it was a much more casual, relaxed vibe where you knew everyone was there for the same goal. So you didn't have to worry about like, am I going to approach someone and try to chat them up and then they're not going to be interested? And then they ended up just bonding, and all of them just went out for drinks after to another place. He was like, we spent the whole night just going out as a group. And I said, you know, could you do that in a coffee shop? He was like, no. He's like, I just don't think you would. I don't think if we went to another type of setting, even a bar, like he's just like, I just don't think it would have made everyone feel in a level that they wanted to get to know each other like that. So he had a really positive experience. So don't know if anyone else has had an experience they want to share, but that was like Rick sharing that one. Quick fire question for you. What's better for bonding with a loved one, discovering new beer or a brewery together, or visiting an old favourite?
I think it depends on what mood you're in. Like if you want to be nostalgic, then a regular favourite is good. But if you are like feeling adventurous, then trying somewhere new.
I think I'm going to say visiting an old favourite, because in terms of the bonding aspect of it, for me, the bonding is going back to an old favourite. Just going to a new place for me. I'm like,
discovering something new with your partner that you learn something.
I don't know. I think for me, it's the like, we go to a new place, we have a good time. Great. But the bonding piece of it is like, we go back to it at a later date. I can see your point of like, depends on the mood. I think for me, at least for me and Rick anyways, I think for me, it feels like more of a bonding experience to go back to an old favourite. If you had to plan a date at a brewery with all the things we learned above considered, what would you choose for like obviously cater it to you and your husband, like not just like a theoretical date. Like if you go and plan a date now, how would you approach it?
There'd have to be lager, otherwise I'd get upset.
Always. Easter eggs. There'd have to be lots of Easter eggs.
I probably would pick somewhere that we've been before, not too far away. So I'd probably pick something in Canterbury, and I'd probably eat somewhere else and then just go and have beer somewhere.
I think it's really hard because how I would plan a date is probably not how Rick like. So Rick was like, "Oh, just take a board game and go to a brewery." I was like, "Yeah." For me, I'd be like, I'm getting really into just doing like crafty stuff. So probably more for like a Galentines thing than like an actual like the paint by numbers. Like I feel like I would love to just take a bunch of like paint by numbers like crafts and just go sit at a brewery tap room and be like, and we're gonna get like hammered and we're gonna do paint by numbers. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
I mean, if I haven't got to do it with my husband, then we're having a silent book club.
See, I don't want silent book club. I'm like, we're gonna get
we're gonna talk about it.
Wild. We're gonna get wild. We're gonna do paint by numbers. Maybe we'll even do a little bit of that, like make your own pottery. Like it's gonna be great. But like other things that you can do if you are trying to find like a way to like go to the brewery and just have something on the side, like small board games. Bringing your own snacks and doing pairings with what's there, like seeing if you can pair your snacks to drinks that are there, or even just like getting a box of those, like you can order those like question cards. And the table topics, I actually genuinely, as cheesy as it is, I kind of think it's fun because there's some things that you just never think to ask your partner that like when it comes up in a random table topic, they tell you something. And like, I think like 9 times out of 10, you might just get a dud and you're like, okay, I already knew that. Or like, oh, that's not that good. But that one time that you learn something new, it hits hard. You're like, what? And they're like, tell me about that. So I will take cards like that sometimes when we go out. So I know we're nearing like a really, really long episode. So I'm going to cut out some of the other stuff that we're going to do, but I'm going to focus first before we do that on we'll end it on a nice positive note, which is beer love stories.
It's a good job you love us.
Or you've shut it off already and it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So Joe, you mentioned about before I tell the ones that people have submitted to me, you mentioned about your Boston Lager.
Yeah. So good job Gordon doesn't listen to these. So Boston Lager was given to me while I was basically flirting with a guy, right? Ooh. So I was like, so we were like at the crew bar and he offered to buy me a drink and I was like, oh, I'll have a Smirnoff Ice. And he's like, I'm not buying you that, I'm getting you a beer. And I was like, I don't like beer. You will like this beer, is what I was told. And he brought me over Sam Adams and I was like, oh, God, beer, blah. Drank it and was like, oh, this has got flavour and this is interesting. And it was literally like my craft beer awakening was like, I was forced to have this beer and this guy would not, like, hello, should have been a red flag from the beginning, right? This was not my husband. This is not the person I've ended up with. Like,
you're like, just to qualify.
And then like, wouldn't buy me the drink that I wanted, made me drink the beer that they thought I should drink. And actually, great beer. And then told me about, he was like, oh, this other great one is Oktoberfest. Like, you should try that too. And then we ended up getting some on the ship and I was just like, this is great. And like, I have such nostalgia about these beers because I had such a good experience with them. And I'm not, obviously I'm not with that person anymore, but that was a fun relationship and a nice person. And in fact, we're still friends. And in fact, like we're at the point now where I work in beer. I do this podcast about beer. Like a lot of my life is about beer and we still chat every now and then. And I do have to remind him not to get a big head because he's like, oh, I'm just thinking if I hadn't given you that Sam Adams, like you wouldn't be where you are today. And I'm like, all right,
in a very toxic way.
I'm like, calm down. But my love, Sam Adams, began through a little flirty banter at a bar, at the crew bar.
At the crew bar.
At the crew bar.
I think probably all my beer and love stories are, I said I'd shout out my lady beer chat, my chat with Ruth and Rachel, because we got all these photos. Ruth sent me a whole bunch of photos of the three of us being like, does this count as your relationship
It
chat
totally
or whatever?
does.
And I was just like, it does. I was like, it does, because if it wasn't for beer, we wouldn't have like our little group chat, like our friend
we wouldn't
group
be friends.
friendship
We
chat. We wouldn't be friends. No, 100%.
Yeah.
But I think like that's something that I talk about all the time. Whereas like these little like pockets of chats that I have, like with you and like all the time with you, and you know with Ruth and Rachel, and just like in the wider community, like beer has brought me lots, like from that Galentines aspect, like lots of the ladies in my life that I love, my Palentines.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like that's that. And I think like for me, when it comes to like with Rick, for example, just there's so many places in the world that we've got to go to. I think for me, those moments are all around the beer's the less important thing, but it's the scenery. So like I have managed to have beer in some very beautiful places. Like there's been places in Japan that I'm like, this is unreal, and I'm sat here just drinking a craft beer in the street and looking at something fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I think I already said when we were on Miyajima, we went to Miyajima Brewery, and it was autumn and all the autumn leaves were out, and it was just like we were there on this busy street that's in this like, you know, I say busy street, but it's still an island, and it was like all this foliage, it's beautiful, and like stuff like that of just being in beautiful locations together and just really appreciating. I think what it is the beer's made me appreciate going to these beautiful places for beer, has made me appreciate a lot more about just how good I have it and how lucky I am to have somebody like Rick who's willing to get dragged around to a lot of these.
Yeah.
I say get dragged around, he willingly goes to these places, but
yeah,
he didn't, you know, sometimes he's just like, oh, we got to get up early in the morning, and I'm like, but I don't want to miss this brewery, and he's just like, oh, fine, okay. So yeah, those are my stories. But I did ask other people to submit their stories, anything that had to do with basically loosely the theme was love and beer. It could be your Palentines, it could be falling in love with the beer, it could be falling in love with the location, just anything loosely tied to that. Hilariously, I had a call at work with somebody from the US team, so I said I'd mention this as well. And through a conversation we were having, mentioned about, you know, one of our headquarters is in Denver. He was traveling to the headquarters. I can't really wait to go there. Like, I'm super into beer, and I would love to be able to go over there sometime because I feel they've got like some amazing breweries. And that got us talking about beer. And he said, he mentioned a brewery, and I said, oh yeah, I've heard of that. That's on the list of places if I get to go to Denver. And he said, oh yeah, I met my wife there. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I met my wife there. And he was saying that basically they had a mutual friend that he worked with. So he worked with someone that was also a friend with his wife. And he said that like every day on a particular day of the week, they would go to this brewery, they would have drinks there. And eventually, like, he got introduced to his now wife, and he said like, it was like, oh yeah, she also works at this company. And then like, oh, okay, it's like nice. And he was saying, I'm probably not doing the story justice because I'm just giving you like the high level of it, but he started off just being like, oh, like introduced himself, said like, nice to meet you. And then like the next few times, because they always went on the same day of the week, it was like a Wednesday or whatever, she said eventually they would say hi to her, and eventually she was like, oh, can I come sit with you? And then they eventually started sitting together and having beers together, and then now they're married with the child. And yeah, it's just, and he told me that, and I went, that's really funny because I'm recording a podcast tonight that has to do with love and beer, romance and beer. And I was like, could I share your story? And he was like, yeah, go ahead, share all of it. I said, I was like, I'll just share high level. He's like, share all of it, that's cool with me. So yeah, it was just a really funny coincidence. Because I was like, that's the exact kind of story I'm looking for. But I had a few more stories to share. So our friend Helen, hello Helen, she responded to my post. I'm just like, lots of people sent stories, but I think in the interest of time, I've tried to just select a few. So Helen said her and her partner Craig, they met at North Bar in Leeds. she said that he was like, yeah, he recognized me from somewhere, and it was off the Craft Beer Lovers Forum. And I went back and forth with her, and I was like, that's hilarious. I was like, I love that, because I knew that they had met through beer, but I didn't realize that they didn't meet online before meeting in person. Like, I thought they had met through the forum and then agreed to go out on a date. But she said no, ironically, she was having a really bad day and went to go have a pint. She walked in and she said he walked over to me straight away telling me he loves stouts and sours. And she said, our first official date was at Northern Monk. And I just went, did he just confidently walk right up to you and mention that? And like, was there any awkwardness? And she said he was definitely a bit nervous. He said, I know you from somewhere. And the guy behind the bar laughed and said, yep, we've all heard that before. And he said, oh, you're the girl who has the Leeds glass off Facebook on the beer page. And then he asked me if Leeds were going to get relegated, which, like, that's sports terminology. I don't know sport. Helen really knows sports. I do not know sports. And then she said, and we've been together ever since. And he said on that day, he doesn't like IPAs, but now it's Untapped wrapped last year. It was mostly his most drunk style, and that's the Helen effect. And I laughed really hard. And I said that I really love the element of like right place, right time.
Yeah.
And she said, well, just to freak you out more, he was meant to go the day before, but his mate's dog was ill and had to take him to the vet, so they ended up going out the day after. And that's he wasn't even supposed to be there on that night, and she only went because she was having such a shit day.
That's fate.
That she was like, want a pint? And I said, I feel like everything happens for a reason. And if one small thing were different, like, would we be in the same location? Who knows?
Yeah.
Our beloved Andy Parker from Elusive.
Hi, Andy.
Hello, Andy. He commented to say that when he proposed to his wife Jane in 2010, he didn't have a ring. Hi, Jane. She's lovely. They're just a lovely couple.
Jane.
Didn't have a ring, so we arranged to go to London to buy one at Hatton Garden. Afterwards, we went to the Rake and they were launching Colonel Black IPA, a style I'd not really tried before. We bumped into some beery friends, then made some more until we had a group assembled across 2 tables. We all sat there drinking it all afternoon until the 2 kegs they had both kicked. It was such a lovely day that Bipper instantly became something I associated with happiness, and it's still my favourite beer style. And I just responded to just be like, that's giving me some new insight into Bipper comeback.
Right? Bipper comeback.
I just thought he really liked him. I didn't know what, like, I was like, that is so wholesome. That is so wholesome.
I love it. I love
I
love Andy and Jane. Like, that's such a good story.
They are just lovely people in general. But like that story, just because we all know externally how much she's just like Team Bipper, that I didn't know that was sort of like the background on that. And I was like, oh my god, I feel like I've got insider trading knowledge that I shouldn't have.
Yeah. Mate, I just love a Bipper. Like,
I just think
I don't have a significant life event that
I just thought I just thought it was the same. I thought he was just like, it just tastes really good. And then we have Tom Canning, and Tom's been on the podcast before as well. Hello, Tom. He said, when I started dating my now wife in 2011, we used to frequent a fairly grotty bar called RSVP in Camberley. For whatever reason, they had a decent array of Ascot Brewing Co. beers, and I really loved Posh Pooch. I'm pretty sure the lines weren't all that clean, but I was just getting into ale at the time, so I was on 2 journeys. It may have been an amazing craft beer place ahead of its time. I really wasn't paying attention, and anyway, it has been demolished since. But it was really funny because I went back saying, I feel like the best origin stories of beer, whether it's life, love, or anything else, they start with not fully clean lines. And he said, I'm waiting to find out that the landlord of said bar follows you and is furious I've disparaged his lines. So that made me chuckle. And then on Reddit, I did get a nice story as well, which I won't read that one properly out, but I did get a nice story that was basically like my now wife at the time we were dating introduced me to craft beer at this brewery in New York when we lived in New York, and we've since moved back to my home state. And however many years later, I now like a bottle shop was going out of business, and it's like, yes, I've now bought that bottle shop.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
And I was like, I love that. And I said, like, did you always love beer, or like, did you like beer before, or were you not sure about it? Or he was just like, no, I just didn't have the money to I didn't have the money to care.
Yeah.
Because like I would just go, Sierra Nevada, like I could get Sierra Nevada for however much. That's my beer of choice because I can get the most from my bodega like out of that. But then after that, he was like, then I got really into, I tried more breweries, I got really into it, and now I own my hometown's local bottle shop that was going out of business.
I mean, don't get me wrong, when I started, I was drinking Sam Adams out of bottles. like
yeah, I used to drink out of cans and bottles, and now I feel like it's painful.
Like out of the bottle, and we would never do that nowadays. Like unless we were somewhere where we couldn't get a glass. Like
I would almost never put things in a glass before, and now I'm like, if you told me, even when it's like, you know, The Alchemist, and like, please drink it out of the can, I'm like, do I have to? I don't like that.
Yeah, how things have changed. Oh, those stories are great. I'm glad we ended on those stories.
I want more wholesome stories, to be honest. Yeah, wholesome stories. I'd like to hear more wholesome stories. So if you want to come and tell me more wholesome stories, you can still send me, even though we're not recording it anymore. Maybe we'll do like a follow-up of people's really wholesome stories, just a whole wholesome episode. You can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism, or you can email it to me if it's too long to just send a brief little message. You can email me at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. You can go on my website, which is adventuresinoptimism.com, but that's not updated. But then maybe I need to be the change that I need to see in the world, and I need to go and find the best breweries for date nights to be held, or I need to go out there and try to do date night things. I don't know. Valentine's Day that I don't normally celebrate. If you want to reach out to both Joe and I and say, like, look, 2 hours is just too long, you need to do less, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at A Woman's Brew. You can email us all your angry notes or your happy notes. Maybe you want to send us really positive things. A Woman's Brew podcast at gmail.com. You could go on our website at awomensbrewpod.beer, which is awomensbrewpod.beer. Joe, if people want to find out more about, you know, what to do if somebody is just like, should they trust this person that's just like, trust me, take this beer? They want to talk to you about that, or they're like, do you need help? What's happening?
I mean, also come to me if you want some smart recs, because we didn't get to talk about it, and I have
the smart recs. I'm just saying,
like, we've got the smart recs. You can come
I've got the beer smart recs.
The beer smart recs. Come find me at Love Beer Learning on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, but you're going to find me on Instagram more easily. And you can come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. At some point, there will be a new blog post on there. I just haven't posted it yet. Or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. So
I've just opened up a 13% stout from Fort City that I'm going to go share with Rick.
Cheers to love.
Cheers.